Right now at 6, Jasper, Missouri, first responders responded to an early morning house fire.
And we've got dangerously cold temperatures and the possibility of slick spots across the area this morning. We'll have a look at road conditions and that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, Hot Wheels enthusiasts gather together to share their love for the popular collector's item.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Melissa Alexis.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Monday, January the 5th, and it is a very cold Monday. Hopefully your commute in was okay.
It was all right, a little icy, but we got here safely. So.
Yeah, that's that problem. Sometimes it doesn't really take a lot of ice to make it very slick outside. The way I came up Old 96. Now the boss says, don't do that because it's never taken care of. But in all honesty, it wasn't that bad. But there are still slick spots that we need to be concerned about. We're going to take a quick tour around the area. We're going to look at some different traffic cameras and our cameras and all sorts of cameras that are all over the place. Okay, well, they're not all over the place. They're wherever we can find them. But still, we're going to show you the roadways, and then we're going to talk about road conditions. And then we'll tell you just how cold it's going to be today, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be very cold. Very cold today. All right, downtown Pittsburgh, Broadway, looking back to the south. You can see 3rd Street, for example. This is a great example, too, because communities, cities, especially bigger ones, side streets are a secondary priority, okay? If it's not a major roadway or a way for first responders to get here, there, or for emergencies, it's going to be a backside priority. And you can see 3rd Street, still somewhat covered. Broadway looks better, but look at some of the snow that's down the road, down in the parking zones. And you've got to watch out for black ice. So I talked about it all morning, but seriously, it is the thing that is the most dangerous about this kind of weather because you can't see it in most cases until you've hit it. You don't even know it's there until you're off in the ditch or you are sliding around on the roadway. So slow down this morning. Even if it looks clear, looks can be deceiving. Of course, MoDOT cameras are along the I-44 corridor. Now, this one is at exit 4 looking south along 43. Still some snow out there as well. I-44 range line looking back to the east. And you see, it's these spots. Now, in a lot of cases, these are going to be liquid because the plow crews have been out. But that could also be black ice, which is why you want to be careful. And you can see the MoDOT camera says Main Street looking back to the east as well. Looking fairly good, still slick spots. And what I really like that I'm seeing is how slowly traffic is moving. These cameras aren't in slow motion, but folks are slowing down, and that is the right thing to do. See, even this fellow, slowing down. This is a KDOT camera, 69 East 520th Avenue south of Pittsburgh. Shoulders, of course, are going to be still covered with some snow, some precipitation. 69 down the stretch here looks okay, but like I said, black ice is the primary concern. Again, for whatever reason, this map, the data it receives, it doesn't have a color code for closed. So it's replacing it with clear because it doesn't know what that is. But all of this here in the blue is closed. That's including most of 70, 35, I-35. That's why Kansas put out that emergency alert this morning on cell phones because a good portion of the eastern section of the state, roads are closed. It is unsafe to travel. They don't want you going out unless you have to. In our area, we do have slick spots. Now, in our area, the blue is actually representing where the roads are being reported as clear. We still have covered roadways in the northern half of southeast Kansas, partially covered in the southern half of our viewing area. So again, if you're traveling, first off, again, if you don't have to travel, don't. But if you are, do slow down, be careful. I'm going to say that 1,000 times because there were so many crashes, especially yesterday. You got to be told. You've got to slow down. Don't go out if you don't have to. A number of schools are closed and a number of other places, and those are scrolling at the bottom of your screen. On the Missouri side, most of Missouri is reported as covered, not seeing anything as closed. Many roads around the metro area are reported as covered. I-49 from Joplin to Nevada. A lot of our northern communities, north of I-44, still covered roadways. South of I-44, it is listed as partly covered. Cold weather advisory, again, that replaces the wind chill advisories, wind chill warnings, because we'll have dangerously cold air out there and dangerously cold wind chills, and those run through at least 11 o'clock this morning. We are partly cloudy, we are breezy, hence the cold weather advisory out there. Temperatures not moving much, and wind chills really hovering right around 0 degrees through most of today. 13 Joplin, 13 in Pittsburgh, and then we'll take a look at temperatures real quick around the area. Yates Center, Iola, I figured it was coming. You guys have been sitting at 10 this morning, now down to 9 degrees. The rest of us in the low to mid-teens, but But once you factor in those wind chills, it feels like it is anywhere from 1 to 10 above. And then in our northwestern counties, it feels like it's anywhere from 0 to 10 below outside. Today, upper teens, low 20s for highs, north winds gusting to 25, keeping our wind chills dangerously cold. We'll have another look at your forecast, talk about how long this cold weather lasts, and another round of possible wintry weather down the road here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
Thanks, Chris. Firefighters were called to a house fire early Saturday morning. Around 1:30 a.m., Jasper first responders, along with Carthage, Lamar, Tri-Cities, and Golden City, were called to the resident's home at 307 North Main. The occupants of the home were able to get out safely. Firefighters wasted no time getting to work to extinguish the flames, and the crews were dismissed after 75 minutes. There were no injuries to firefighters, and the Red Cross is assisting the displaced residents. Well, now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps, as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free, the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. If there are any closures due to the inclement weather from this weekend, we'll have a list as they're submitted on our website and our KOAM News app. You can scan the QR code and bookmark the URL on your phone, or download the free KOAM News app from your phone's app store. Get the latest list at KOAMNewsNow.com. MoDOT and other departments of transportation want to remind drivers that there are priorities set for which roads are cleared first. They understand each road is a priority to drivers, but say there just aren't enough workers or trucks to clear all highways immediately. MoDOT says the most efficient job is one that will impact the most drivers, which sets the priority. For information on your local city or county streets, residents should contact your local government. The Route 66 Hot Wheels Collectors Club met in Joplin Saturday. The newly formed organization is based in Joplin, saving members the drive to other clubs like Springfield or Tulsa. The club is centered around trading, swapping, and selling of the Hot Wheels toy line. Collectors from the area stopped into the Clubhouse, a vintage toy and game store off of 12th and Main, to see what the meetings had to offer and to learn more about the club.
I wanted something here in the Joplin area. So I started asking people about it, and a lot of people showed a lot of interest. So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and start one.
The group's founder, Jason Eastus, will have a booth of collectibles at the upcoming Veterans Flea Market in Joplin on January 17th and 18th. The collectors meet on the first Saturday of every month. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in your first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Microsoft plans to spend billions of dollars on AI-enabled data centers this year. Plus, public services for former President Jimmy Carter continue in Atlanta. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Monday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, Apple has agreed to pay $95 million to affected customers to settle a privacy class action lawsuit over its virtual assistant, Siri. The preliminary settlement, which must be approved by a judge, would end a 5-year legal battle over the issue. The suit claims Siri can be accidentally activated and then record parts of people's conversations without their consent. Plaintiffs also claim Apple violated users' privacy by forwarding those recordings to third parties. In the settlement, Apple said it, quote, continues to deny any and all alleged wrongdoing. Microsoft is expected to spend big money on artificial intelligence this year. For fiscal year 2025, the company said it's on track to invest approximately $80 billion to build out data centers. They will be used to train AI models and deploy AI cloud-based applications worldwide. In a blog post this week, Microsoft said more than half of that $80 billion investment will be made in the United States. The company said the U.S. leads the global AI race right now, and it called on the incoming Trump administration and Congress to expand efforts to support the advancement of AI. This is the third day of public services for former President Jimmy Carter, who died a week ago at the age of 100. His body is currently laying in repose at the Carter Center in Atlanta after a public memorial service was held Saturday. Tomorrow, services move to Washington, D.C., culminating with Thursday's state funeral. Christian Benvenides is in Atlanta as Americans pay tribute to the longest-lived president in the U.S. history.
Crowds of mourners filed past the flag-draped casket of former President Jimmy Carter in Atlanta over the weekend.
I've let everyone know that when this day came that I plan to be here.
Carrie Lewis traveled from Manhattan, Kansas with a good friend to pay her respects. She says she's followed Carter's career since his election when she was in the second grade.
What do you make of his legacy?
He's just such a selfless man. It was so wonderful to be able to witness someone that was so giving to this country.
Others also left tributes to his legacy at the growing memorial outside of the Carter Center.
This is a world of thanks to President Jimmy Carter. He was just the most amazing human being.
There was a steady stream of mourners stopping by to pay their respects here in Atlanta throughout the weekend. Today could be even busier, given it's the last day he will lie in repose here at the Carter Center. Tomorrow, funeral services will shift to Washington, D.C. Carter's body will be transported to the U.S. Capitol, where he'll lie in state until Thursday's state funeral. President Joe Biden will deliver one of the eulogies. President-elect Donald Trump says he will attend. The day of the funeral has also been declared a national day of mourning, as the country says its final farewell to the 39th president. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Atlanta.
Other living former presidents are also expected to attend Carter's state funeral. After Thursday, Carter's body will return to his hometown of Plains, Georgia, for a private service and burial. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves dangerously cold temperatures and slick spots all on the roadways. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
Quitting alcohol is a popular New Year's resolution, especially with the growing popularity of dry January. Now bars and liquor stores are shifting to accommodate those looking to lead a healthier lifestyle. David Mattingly has more from Louisville, Kentucky.
At the Culture Cheese Shop on East Main, employees prepare daily cheese selections and charcuterie boards. They're also promoting a selection of mocktails for January customers. Cocktails without alcohol.
More like millennials and like younger generations are wanting to do dry January, and they're also doing like February and March as well. Like they're continuing on, which is really interesting.
According to one survey, 75% of drinkers in their 20s said they were going on the wagon last year for dry January 2024. And judging by sales at Frankfurt Avenue Liquors, that's exactly what happened.
Last year in January from the year previous, we're probably 20% down on the bar and on the retail side combined.
All because of dry January.
It's a real thing. It is an absolute real thing.
This year, owner Bill Durham is stocking a variety of non-alcoholic products and alternatives. From 2020 to 2024, the number of non-alcoholic products entering the market skyrocketed globally. Non-alcoholic beer up 143%, non-alcoholic wine up 200%, non-alcoholic spirits up 500%.
We also have non-alcoholic bottles of liquor. Let's say liquor, faux liquor maybe would be the term, but there's rum, there's tequila, there's bourbon.
So why the trend? Going Dry author Hillary Scheinbaum attributes it in part to people emerging from the pandemic wanting to be more health conscious.
Really, when it comes to alcohol, a lot of those detriments include hangovers and other more severe results. So people are definitely scaling back on those boozy drinks.
Now here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we are taking a look at just cameras around the area. We do have slick spots out there to contend with and dangerously cold temperatures. Another look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 621 now on this Monday morning. We're going to start with our camera downtown Pittsburgh. We're going to give you a visual of road conditions because studies say folks at home respond a lot better to be shown what's going on versus us just telling you, oh, the roads are bad. Well, that's our opinion, right? But if we can show you how they look, it makes a little more of an impact. Now, Broadway, again, still looking okay. You can see at least the lines on the road. That's certainly a plus, but you can still see there's some coverings out there. 3rd Street, for example, is still covered in Pittsburgh. And you see these shiny spots? Some of this is liquid from the salt being put down. Some of it is black ice, and black ice is the number one concern this morning, in all honesty, because it's one of those things you're not going to see it in most cases until you are on top of it. So that goes back to, you probably just heard that, we keep getting these, and you may be as well. Seriously, the state of Kansas is putting out an emergency alert to cell phones telling people, unless it's an emergency, don't drive in the state of Kansas. Now, the good news is in our area, yeah, we have the slick spots, but it's not nearly as bad as out to our north and west, and we'll show you that in just a moment. I-44 cameras around the metro area. This is Main Street looking back to the east. There's one of the MoDOT trucks out there right now. We've got the MoDOT camera, I-43, and it is looking down to the south, so that's exit 4. This is exit 8 at Range Line looking back to the east. It looks good, but it's like I said, it's these darker spots that look like water, and in some cases, thanks to the work of the crews, it very likely is liquid, but you've got to be careful because it is in the teens. It's not going to take a lot for any liquid out there to freeze. Then we'll head over to the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, same story. You can kind of see the reflections. See, that genuinely looks like water. That could be a good thing, but you got to watch out for that black ice this morning. No major snow coverings out there, at least on the cameras around our area. This is MoDOT camera, 32nd in Range Line, looking good. KDOT camera, southeast Kansas, and it's hard to make out what this says, but it's talking about how the roads, major roads are closed in Kansas, which we're going to show you that right now. So again, this map it doesn't have an understanding of closed. It doesn't have a color for that for some reason. I didn't build it. That's just how it came. But all of that back to our north and west, that's all closed. It's not clear as the key would indicate. It is closed. That's I-70, I-35, 135. That's why you're getting those emergency alerts to not drive in most of Kansas. Now, in our area, we still have some covered roadways, mainly in the northern portions of southeast Kansas, partly covered roadways down in the southern portion. Now, in our area, the good news is the blue does actually indicate clear. All right, we're not dealing with closed roads down here, but still a number of slick spots. On the Missouri side, most of the state still covered. In our area, that really includes most of the roadways and highways north of I-44 still listed as covered. And that's including a number of locations around the metro area itself within the city. Now, I-44 is listed as clear from Joplin through Springfield. I-49 is covered from Joplin to Nevada. And then we've got partly covered roadways down in the southern half of our area. In addition, we have these. These are cold weather advisories. This is replaced wind chill warnings and wind chill advisories. So what this is it is dangerously cold wind chills across the entire area, and this will run through at the latest 11 a.m. Some of them expire at 10, but at the latest they'll run through 11. The future track, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it this morning simply because there's no precipitation. There's nothing to really worry about other than the fact we're talking about partly cloudy skies and gusty north winds out there. What we do need to worry about is temperatures now and temperatures down the road. We are sitting at 8 in Yates Center and Iola. The rest of us, for the most part, low to mid-teens. With that north wind kicking in, it feels like it's anywhere from 0 to almost 10 below in parts of southeast Kansas. The rest of us, for the most part, feels like 0 to 5 above with those wind chills. So through our morning, partly cloudy skies, not a lot of motion in these temperatures, and that's going to be the case at least over the next 2 or 3 days. So it's going to be cold for a while. North winds gusting to 25. Our highs going into the upper teens and low 20s. Now, the good news is the winds ease up tonight still. We'll put our wind chills close to 0 overnight. We'll be falling back to around 10 degrees with partly cloudy skies out there as well. Heading into Tuesday, Wednesday, so I'm saying still cold in the teens at night, 20s by day. Thursday a bit better. Friday, keeping an eye on it right now. Best data suggests maybe some scattered flurries. Some of the data suggests that it could be a more significant snow event. Still a ways away. We'll keep a close eye on it for you, but just let's keep an eye on Friday. After that, though, we do warm up a bit, upper 30s and even low 40s by the middle of next week. Let's check your forecast. We're going to toss it over to Melissa with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Topping Health Watch this morning, a new artificial intelligence tool could help warn doctors when patients are at risk of suicide. A study from Vanderbilt University Medical Center tested an AI system that analyzes electronic health records and pinpoints patients at higher risk of death from suicide within 30 days. The system then prompts doctors to ask patients screening questions. The system flagged about 8% of patients for additional screening and support. Suicide remains a leading cause of death in the U.S. Some nursing home patients with dementia may be taking trips to the hospital that are unnecessary and potentially harmful. A study from University of Missouri, Columbia, found that residents with Alzheimer's or dementia were more likely to have avoidable transfers to hospitals than residents without dementia. The researchers say hospital transfers can confuse and stress residents who could instead be treated at home, but dementia may make it difficult for them to express their wishes. And a law intended to make medical test results more transparent for patients may instead be confusing and worrying them. University of Michigan researchers found that patients often see medical test results on electronic records before ever having doctors being able to look at them. But they found most patients had trouble understanding the information accurately because results aren't written with patients in mind. The authors advocate developing patient-centered pathology reports or talking to your doctor about what to look for in a report before you have a test. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, multiple charities in our area receive thousands of dollars in donations.
We've got dangerously cold temperatures and slick spots across a number of roadways in the area. We'll have a look at those road conditions and that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, we have some tips for you to weatherproof your home to help improve your energy efficiency.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Melissa Alexis.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday. No, it's not. It is Monday, January the 5th. Look, I'm already ready to get past all of this. So that's why I'm skipping ahead to Tuesday. So, but no, it is Monday. It is January the 5th. And we have got, I'm sorry. No, it's not. It is I don't even know what day it is. Well, anyway, it's cold outside, and it is dangerously cold. And on top of that, it's Monday. That's all you need to know.
It is Monday.
And we've got slick spots on virtually every roadway in our area as well. So let's take a look first outside. We're going to start with our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. How is it it's not the 6th? It is the 6th. I've been saying, nobody caught this until now. It's been an hour and a half, and just now we're figuring out I've been saying the 5th all morning. I haven't even got any messages, so that's all right, though. It's Monday, and it is slick. So let's take a look first. Downtown Pittsburgh, this is Broadway looking back roughly to the south. You can see the roads look okay. You can see the lines. That's certainly a plus, but there's still snow patches on the roads. And you've got to watch out for the potential for black ice. These darker spots may not be black ice. I'm not saying that is specifically, but that is something that you've got to keep an eye out on. And then another great example, we've had a story on this morning. 3rd Street, for example, has not been cleared. Side roads are going to be a back priority for any community across the region. It's going to be those main roads that are going to go first. I-44 cameras around the area. This is at exit 4 looking south along 43. It looks okay, but again, you can see we've got some of that patchy snow out still on the roadway. Same from the I-44 camera at exit 6. This is Main Street looking back to the east. Again, you can still see some spots, and again, you got to slow down out there now. Range line, I-44, so exit 8 looking east, looks okay, but again, you've got to watch out for some of these dark spots. Now, the road crews have been out doing their thing. A lot of this probably is clear, but you still have got to be cautious out there. KDOT camera, 69 East 520th Avenue. Looks okay. Shoulders still have some snow on them. Okay, good. This car came through with lights. So you can kind of get an idea as to how the roadway looks out there, but slick spots are a problem. Now, the other concern is just across the region, the number of issues with the roadways. Now, again, if you're joining us only now, this map, I did not create it. This is how it came. It doesn't have a code for closed. So since it doesn't understand what closed is, the data it shows, it's showing clear. All of this is actually closed all the way through Kansas City, Kansas, and Lawrence toward Topeka. So that's I-70, I-35, 135. All of that is actually closed. It is not clear, so I just want to point that out. Now, in our area, the blue does actually represent clear, which is good, but we still have covered roadways, again, still mainly into the northern portions of southeast Kansas, seeing some gradual improvements in the southern half with partially covered roadways, but every major roadway is experiencing slick spots. On the Missouri side, Broadview, nothing closed, but we have a lot of covered roadways. And that's including I-44 from, let's say, right around maybe just northeast of Springfield back up towards St. Louis, portions of I-49, I-70 as well. Now, on the local level, if you're north of I-44, that's where we're dealing still with the most problems. Most of the major roadways in the metro area that MoDOT services, keep in mind, these are MoDOT roads, are listed as covered. That's most of these, including I-49 from Joplin to Nevada. I-44 from the Oklahoma border to Springfield, at least, is marked as clear, and we have partially covered roadways in the southern part of our area. We also have cold weather advisories across the entire region through at least 11 a.m. This replaces wind chill watches, advisories, and warnings, so dangerously cold temperatures out there. On to the future track, just quick. We're looking at partly cloudy skies today and gusty north winds. Temperatures not moving much. That's going to keep our wind chills down into the 0 to 5 above range most of today. 8, Yates Center and Iola, the rest of us into the low to mid-teens. And you factor in the wind, and it feels like upwards of almost 10 below in our northwestern counties, and most of us still holding out in the 0 to 10 above range for wind chills. So that's where they're going to be, right around 0, maybe even 5 below in some cases. Upper teens, low 20s for highs, partly cloudy skies, and those north winds gusting to 25. So a lot of information to go through. We'll go through it again, and we'll talk about what we're expecting through the week in the full forecast. That's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
Thanks, Chris. Weatherizing your home in winter conditions can help improve your energy efficiency. Taking appropriate measures to ensure your home is ready for extreme temperatures can be the difference between a cozy winter or a stressful one. We spoke with experts to learn what you can do to make sure you're prepared.
A home that's been weatherized, it can save 35% on fuel usage over the course of a year. And some of these are really simple things, like going down to the basement, check your furnace filter. Has it been changed all winter? If not, do it now, because if you don't, your furnace is going to be working a lot harder to keep up with that air. Working harder means it's going to not be as energy efficient.
Some of the other tips from Rose were to make sure your natural gas meter is clear from ice and debris, and assuring that your utility ventilation systems are free from blockages as well. Some 4-state charities gathered at Suzanne's Natural Foods in Joplin to be presented with checks of over $5,000 to feed the hungry. The 4 charities participated in the Empty Bowl, a fundraiser in which residents can buy clay bowls made by 35 regional artists. The money raised goes to charities that help feed the hungry.
Empty Bowls is reminiscent of the 1930s soup kitchens, and kind of the play on that is somewhere out there someone has an empty bowl with no food in it. So Empty Bowls was created from an art department, a couple of teachers, and they had their students create pottery bowls, and it's just kind of grown across the nation.
The charities that received the funds include Watered Garden, Hope Kitchen, Mission Joplin, and We Care of the 4 states. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. More than 2 million retirees might see a bump in their Social Security benefits. And we have a cold and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, more than 2 million retired teachers, firefighters, and other public sector retirees are set to get a bump in their Social Security benefits after President Joe Biden signed the Social Security Fairness Act into law. The measure eliminates 2 federal policies that had barred employees with a public pension from collecting their full benefits under the federal retirement program, and that reduced benefits for those workers, surviving spouses, and family members. The president says millions will get a lump sum payment to make up for missed benefits in 2024, while the average monthly increase in payments is around $360. The Lion King and Sonic the Hedgehog 3 reigned supreme for the 3rd week in a row to kick off the first weekend box office earnings of the new year. This time, the live-action Disney film roared to the top with close to $24 million domestically. Sonic 3 brought in more than $21 million to take second, and horror remake Nosferatu was third, earning just over $13 million. And Krispy Kreme has a new crazy good collaboration with Pop-Tart to kick off the new year. Today, the donut chain is launching 3 new flavors: Pop-Tarts Frosted Strawberry, Frosted Chocolatey Fudge, and Frosted Brown Sugar Cinnamon Donuts at participating locations. That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
And we're going to start with another look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Our camera there on Broadway. So again, you can see Broadway looking okay. It's not bad, but you can still see there are slick spots out there. There's still some snow out there as well. And of course, the side streets, they're going to be the last thing that's going to be cleared. So you need to keep that in mind. I know a number of some schools, Joplin, for example, just didn't have school today. It wasn't planned. They go back tomorrow. But those that were going back today, a number of them are closed. Those are scrolling across the bottom of your screen. And if you need that information a little faster, you can check out KOAMnewsnow.com. Skies are not too bad. We're actually, in most cases, clear. But we'll have a mix of partly cloudy skies a little later today. MoDOT cameras around the area. I-44 at Main Street, looking back to the east. Again, a little out of focus, but still, you can see some shiny spots out there. And some of that is actually liquid. The plow crews out there doing their thing, getting stuff taken care of. But some of it could also be black ice. This is I-44 at exit 4. So this is actually on 43 looking south. Still some snow out there as well. I-44 mile marker 9. So this is the range line exit looking to the east. Looks pretty good. It is very clear, but you still want to watch out for those potential slick spots. Same for the KDOT camera, 69 East 520th Avenue. We do still have, of course, some snow on the shoulders out there. The main portion of the highway is pretty clear, but slick spots are still possible, if not likely. Again, this is all closed because this map does not have a key for closed, so it replaces it with clear. This is not clear. This is all closed out there. It's I-70, 35, 135, most of the major highways here into northeastern Kansas, stretching back toward the Kansas City, Kansas area. Now, in our area, the blue is actually representative of clear, which is good, but we still have covered roadways. Again, the northern half of southeast Kansas and partially covered for most of the southern half of southeast Kansas, and this is virtually every roadway out there, so there's not one particular one that you're going to find it's going to be better than the others. So if you don't have to get out today, don't. That's the best idea. On the Missouri side, most of the state is listed as covered. That includes most of the MoDOT roads in the Joplin metro area. I-44 looking good from Joplin through Springfield. 49 covered from Joplin to Nevada and partially covered in the southern half of the region. We're going to go over all this here in just a moment once again, plus our forecast for the week. We're also going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, but first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Nate Burleson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, it's Beg Knows America. And David introduces us to a happiness professor. Yes, that is a real thing, to help us live better in 2025. Plus, we will take you behind the scenes and hear from some of the big winners at the Golden Globes. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Monday birthdays here in the 4 states, and we are starting in Girard with Bowen Burke celebrating birthday number 4.
And then Kinley Pennington from Lockwood, Missouri, celebrating birthday 6.
And in Chautauqua, Callie Connard celebrating birthday number 6 as well. Happy birthday.
And Emily Gerke, who is turning 40 from Lawrence, Kansas.
And in Jasper, Melinda Buchanan celebrating birthday number 42 today. Happy birthday.
And Robin Harrell in Pittsburgh, Kansas, celebrating 45.
And we head over to Chanute, where Kelly Olson is celebrating birthday number 58. Happy birthday, Kelly.
Joe Cleason from Erie, Kansas, is celebrating 74. Happy birthday, Joe.
And in Carl Junction, Barney Barnett celebrating birthday number 80 today. Happy birthday, Barney.
And happy birthday, Dottie Cornett from Chanute, Kansas.
And into Columbus we go. Scarlett Bowles celebrating another year wiser. Happy birthday.
And happy birthday to Sundown Jacobs in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Happy birthday to Sundown.
All right. Now, see, that's a fantastic list of birthdays and anniversaries. Melissa, just so you know, that's how they should always be. There should be a lot of them on there. They should all have pictures because we want to, celebrate them in the grandest way possible. And if you want to celebrate with us, what you need to do, as soon as the show is over, if you've got something coming up, is submit it to birthdays with an S at KOAMnewsnow.com. You got to make sure you meet the deadline on your screen so that if your birthday's coming up soon or the anniversary's coming up soon, it airs on time. But also important, make sure that you tell us the day of the celebration. So for example, if you send one today and you don't tell us exactly when it is, we're going to presume it's for tomorrow. That's why you're sending it today. But if you're sending it today so you don't forget that it's Wednesday, you got to make sure you tell us it's Wednesday. It's cold outside. All right, I went outside. I regret it, but I really didn't have much of a choice. I got to get to work. Not all of you have to get to work today. We've got closings on the bottom of our screen and on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Not all of you have to go to school today. All right, if you don't have to go outside, I'm going to tell you right now, don't. Just don't. It's too cold. On top of that, the roads are still slick, and because it's going to stay too cold, they're not going to clear on their own anytime soon. All right, so we're going to have to let the city crews and states do what they do, and it's going to take them some time because, like I said, this isn't one of those things where we get some snow, it warms up the next day. That's not going to happen. It's going to stay cold for a while. Looks great. If you look at the sky, it looks beautiful. We got clear skies out there, downtown Pittsburgh. It's the roads, again, that are a concern. Now, again, Broadway is looking pretty good. Still some snow here and there, and especially into the parking zones. But the other thing, you see these shiny spots here? Now, in some cases where the road crews have been working, it is actually liquid for now. But in other cases, that could also be black ice, and you've got to watch out for that. Honestly, black ice, I think, is one of the number one concerns we have across the area because we didn't get a ton of snow in our southern counties, so that's where it's a bigger concern because you won't know it's there until you're sliding off in the ditch or slipping around on the road. So you need to slow down. Even if the road looks clear, you've got to be cautious out there, okay? And we also have travel conditions, road conditions on our website as well for wherever it is you may be going. I-44 and exit 4, this is 43 looking south, so the interstate's down below. Still some snow out there. Traffic is moving. Needs to probably move a little slower, to be honest, but it is moving. Same from MoDOT camera. Main Street exit looking back to the east. Folks slowing down. Some of that's the road work, but even if there's not road work, you need to slow down anyway. MoDOT camera I-44 at range line looking back to the east. Again, it is pretty clear. MoDOT crews have been out all morning. I know KDOT crews, ODOT crews have been out taking care of things. So, but you still are going to run into slick spots. There's another concern. That's what I'm talking about. Like this shiny spot here on 20th Street could potentially be black ice. Not saying it is, but it's a great example of something that you got to look out for. And in some cases, again, you won't see it until you're right on top of it. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line, looking good. Still got maybe some light slick spots here on 32nd Street as you're approaching range line from the east. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue. Of course, the shoulders are still going to be slick, still going to have some snow in them. The main portion of 69 is looking better, but slick spots still very likely. Again, all of this is closed. That's I-70, I-35, and 135, and a number of major highways off to our north and west. But like I said, I didn't build this map. I didn't create it. This is the way it came. It, for some reason, does not have a code for closed. So since it doesn't have anything, it believes that it's clear when it's not. Now, in our area, these blues actually do represent clear. But outside of our area, it is closed. And that's why many of you have probably been receiving those emergency alerts on your cell phone from the state of Kansas saying, unless it's an emergency, simply do not travel, because the entire northeastern portion of Kansas, virtually every major roadway is closed. And if the major roads are closed, you can guarantee that the side roads and back roads are going to be even worse. In our area, probably been looking while I've been rambling on here, but we've got covered roadways in the northern portion of our area. We are seeing some improvements, and we're continuing to see improvements taking place, especially across parts of Montgomery County and into Greenwood County. But we still have some partially covered roadways. That does include 69 from Fort Scott through Pittsburgh, so slow down out there. Missouri, no closures on the Broadview, but a lot of the state still listed as covered, and that includes the Missouri-controlled or the MoDOT-operated highways in the city of Joplin, still listed as covered. That's I-49 through Nevada. I-44, and we showed you the cameras, does look pretty good. It is listed as clear from Joplin through Springfield, and then partially covered down south of I-44 for a number of the roadways down there. Cold weather advisory for everybody. They run through at least 11 o'clock this morning, and this again replaces wind chill warnings and wind chill advisories. This is for dangerously cold wind chills that'll be in place across the area. On the future track, again, it's partly cloudy, it's going to be cold, it's going to be breezy. I'm not putting a lot of time into the future track because there's really not much going on the next few days other than the cold air. We're 8, Yates Center and Iola. The rest of us low to mid-teens. And with those wind chills, northwestern areas, almost 10 below is what it feels like. The rest of us, for the most part, feels like it's anywhere between 0 and 5 above. So a very cold start to the day. We'll have another look at your forecast, talk about maybe some other wintry weather this week, and maybe some warmer weather as well in just a moment. And when we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., a Massachusetts man is trying to find the rightful owners of some letters that he found in a bottle.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. If there are any closures due to inclement weather from this weekend, we'll have a list as they're submitted on our website and our KOAM News app. You can scan the QR code and bookmark the URL on your phone, or download the free KOAM News app from your phone's app store. Get the latest list at KOAMNewsNow.com. MoDOT and other departments of transportation want to remind drivers that there are priorities set for which roads are cleared first. MoDOT says the most efficient job is the one that will impact the most drivers, which sets the priority. For information on your local city or county streets, residents should contact your local government. 4 fourth-state charities gathered at Suzanne's Natural Foods in Joplin to be presented with checks of over $5,000 Saturday to feed the hungry. The charities participated in the Empty Bowl fundraiser, in which residents can buy clay bowls made by 35 regional artists. The money raised goes to charities that help feed the hungry. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door, be prepared for very cold, dangerously cold temperatures and a number of slick spots on roadways across the region. You need to slow down, and if you don't have to go out today, don't, because remember, there's a lot of things that are closed. Scrolling at the bottom of your screen on our website, a number of reasons to stay inside. If you are heading out for any wild reason, we're talking highs, upper teens, low 20s. North winds gusting to 25 is going to keep our wind chills right around 0 to 5 above. Through the evening we go, the winds will eventually ease up. We'll fall back down to about 10 tonight. Partly cloudy skies, north winds 5 to 10, wind chills right around 0 to 5 above. That continues into tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday morning. We're keeping an eye on some flurry chances Friday. Like I said, most data says it's going to be light snow, but some says it could be a little heavier. We'll start to warm up a little into the weekend and next week.
Coming up today at noon, we're making Amish country casserole in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Coming up, Nate Burleson shares his love of football with Tony DeCopel and shows him what a typical training day looks like for an NFL player.
You can switch over with us to Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, multiple charities in our area received thousands of dollars in donations.
Plus, ice sculptors in Minnesota are taking advantage of the winter weather to work on their creations. However, it's going to wrap it up for us for now. Back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.